there. Welcome to Here's What I Learned. I'm Jackie Hayes, a systems strategist, unapologetic, smutty romantasy lover, Dungeons & Dragons geek, and your no BS guide to building a business that works for you. This is the place where we swap stories, share lessons, and get real about the highs and lows of creating a life and business that actually feels good. No cookie cutter advice here, just honest conversations about what's working, what's not, and how to rewrite the rules to fit your version of success. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Here's What I Learned. Today I have Jayci Trujillo, and she started the Happy Girl marketing company after seeing that so many business owners loathe posting on social media. Hello. She knew social media could be a fun place if she was there helping her clients, helping them take the pressure away and of constantly promoting their business. So welcome to the show, Jayci. Jayci, tell me something you're learning about lately.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, first of all. One of the things that I'm currently learning is how to make sourdough bread. It has been all over my social media, as I'm sure it's over everybody's. And so I had a girlfriend who they love making sourdough. And so I said, "Hey, can I borrow some of your starter? I would love to make my own." And they graciously gave me some. And so my starter is about a month old and she makes beautiful loaves. I'm learning how to do the whole thing, the whole process.
That is actually on my list of things that I want to learn how to do because I love sourdough bread. And yeah, so I would much rather just make it myself than to have it, to constantly buy it.
Oh, nice. And it was actually so much simpler than I thought. There were so many rules that people were making kind of around it, and they're just not 100% necessary. Just make the bread.
Good to know. Now I'm not nearly as intimidated. Um, can you tell me, what does it mean to do business your way when I say that to you?
For me, doing business my own way means leaning into the things that I want out of my business and out of my life. I think that there is a kind of unspoken rule that you have to want success, or you have to want to make $1 million or scale or do any of those things. And more so now, I think people are leaning into the slower side of business. And I think doing business my own way means aligning it with my goals for my life, whether that's my personal life, my financial life, any of those things, and leaning into that. So sometimes, for example, for me is me and my husband want to have children in the future, and we want the privilege of being able to stay home with our kids. Yes, I want to work while doing that, but I don't want to have to go to an office. And so that's why I started my business. And that's doing business my own way, is to kind of support and just foster these goals that I have in my personal life. And I think that ebbs and flows as well as life does.
Yeah, I think you made a comment there about success. And I think too often we think of success in we box in what success is, 7 figures, that kind of stuff, as opposed to there being all kinds of different forms of success. So if you were to able to define success for yourself, what would success be?
Success for me would be able to stay home with our future children and live a life that has flexibility. I'm able to tend to my children and their needs and their goals and their dreams, as well as my own. I can make sourdough in the afternoon. I can sleep in. We can do all of these things, and while still being financially level. I mean, I don't think that I want to be a billionaire, but I would love to have the money to travel and enjoy experiences that matter to me, which is, like I said, staying home with our kids, traveling, seeing the world. The American dream, maybe. I don't know what you would call.
And most everybody I talk to about that question of doing business your way and then success, flexibility is almost always one of the top things. The ability to be flexible in your life and to just be able to live it in the way that you want to live it, in the way that works best for you, as opposed to on somebody else's schedule. So it's very rarely, and I don't think I've ever had anybody answer anything about money other than enough money to, live the life I want to live, basically.
Exactly. And I think that flexibility leans into just the actual business itself. The way you communicate with clients, the way that you just get work done. Like, I think success is built in that as well. Of like, if I don't have to go through this chain of command through all of these things that like corporate has conditioned us to believe is like the right way to do business, like that's successful to me. If I can have client meetings only on Fridays, super cool. Like I don't want to have meetings on the rest of the days of the week or whatever. I think that's success for me as well.
Yeah, I think I have a client who is a night owl, and so her creative time is after 8 p.m., and she's a website designer, so that is when she does a bulk of her, like, actual, work for her clients. Um, if she was to work for a corporate environment, they would have her working 8 to 5, and they would miss out on her most creative time of day, and so therefore wouldn't be getting the best from her.
100%. And I think that for me personally, like I also enjoy working in the evenings. I get kind of the admin tasks out of the way during the day, but then in the evenings, I can lean into the content creation and the strategy piece that allows me to be to be my best self.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those batch people. I need big chunks of time to do the thing, which you never get when you're in a corporate setting because somebody's always coming up and talking to you, asking. I remember my last W-2 job, I would literally walk into the office, not even have my coat off, and my boss would be asking me if I'd read the email that she sent that morning. And I'm like, no, I've explained my boundaries. I don't check my email until I get into the office, and you notice my computer's not on yet. So, um, yeah, no, that's not how it's working for me.
It works for some people, and for the majority of people, it doesn't. And that's, I think, the benefit of running your own business and even just freelancing has to offer.
How did you find a way to enjoy social media? Because so many of us don't.
There was many years that I didn't enjoy it. I grew up where it was changing and kind of adapting to the times quickly. Got my first Instagram account. I was 15 years old. It was in 2015. And it was, people were just posting what made them happy. They were posting like their skinny jeans and boba tea. And, every Wednesday was Woman Crush Wednesday and Throwback Thursday. And like, it was just it sounds weird to say it was just a different time, but like it was just a different kind of time and businesses weren't necessarily on Instagram yet. There was no pressure. And it was fun. But then as it became more of a day-to-day type of activity, people were on it every day and sharing more things and they realized that they could gain popularity from social media. It became icky, kind of gross. Um, and I hated that feeling. I hated feeling like I wasn't good enough to post what I wanted or pretty enough, all of the like enoughs. And so when I went to college, I decided I wanted to study business, specifically social media. I wasn't really sure. It was kind of new of like working in social media. Like I remember people saying, what you want to post on Instagram and they want like they're going to pay you to do that. And I was like, yeah, it's a thing. Did I believe it was a thing? I don't know. I mean, it could have been a front, but I knew that there was potential there. So I went to school for business and graduated and got this marketing job in corporate. And I was like, this is not fun. No one wants, this is just not what I want to be doing. So I started to freelance on the side and loved creating content for business owners, but kept finding it. A reoccurring theme was like, this isn't making me happy. I'm just doing this because I have to. Society told me I had to post on social media if I wanted to be successful. Kind of just like this reoccurring theme that kept coming up. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to build my own firm and I'm going to help business owners make it more enjoyable. So by doing that is I'm filling in the gaps that aren't enjoyable. They don't want to come up with content ideas, we'll do it for you. If you don't want to create the content, we'll do it for you. Things like that that allow them to then show up on social media in ways that is enjoyable for them. Meaning they might just want to hop on and post stories. If that's enjoyable for them, do that. We'll handle the businessy strategy piece that is necessary nowadays. Um, and if you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you only want to reply to comments and start conversations in your DMs, do that and we'll handle the rest. And we've just gotten an overwhelming positive response about how easy social media is when you approach it in that way. Like when you have somebody legitimately meet you where you are, not require you to do anything else, I find that there's more joy there.
Yeah, and therefore they're more likely to show up on social media in whatever way it is that they're enjoying at that time. So,
And we also tell our business owners, like, you don't have to do what other business owners are doing. You don't have to launch every quarter. You don't have to have a funnel for your email list. You don't you don't have to if you don't want to. If you just want to post high value content, let's do that.
I know we were talking about flexibility, and a lot of times we talk about time flexibility, but there's also the flexibility to be able to do what you want in your business. And we tend to forget that. We were like, but we were told we were supposed to post 5 days a week and we should be on doing 15 minutes of engagement every single day and, following a certain number of new accounts every day, et cetera. And it's like, well, where'd all that flexibility that we all are craving go? It's not just about time.
Absolutely. The flexibility is there. Now, I think on the flip side, we do have to have those conversations with clients where it's like, hey, if you don't want to show up and if that's not where your joy is, that's okay. But you have to recognize that the growth is going to be different than that you see of others doing all of those things. That's just the kind of the name of the game is you can't never want to post and then expect to make $1 million on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like there's gotta be some level of just understanding that if you want it to be joyful, we can help you do that. But we can't make you $1 million and have zero effort from your part as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to get a bunch of followers on Instagram when you're never actually on Instagram, vice versa. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that an overwhelming number of your clients are like, I just don't like doing that? Is there something in particular that a lot of your clients just don't like doing when it comes to social media?
A lot of them don't like making content, truly. They don't like making graphics and carousels and things like that. They don't love making reels because truthfully, reels aren't fun to make. Um, they're time consuming. There's always a glitch if you're editing them within Instagram. And so they have all of this ideas and value and things that they want to bring to their audience. And then they open up Canva or they open up the Reels editor and they're like, it's not worth it. I can't do it because they just don't have the time to spend 2 hours trying to edit a reel for it to then have a glitch. It's exhausting. And so that's the number one thing is like our clients have all of this content and value they want to give to their audience, but the sheer idea of opening Canva or the IG Reels editor just pushes them
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, it's so much easier to, if you don't mind being on camera, at least, because that can be a point. But, just to like be walking and talking to the camera like you're talking to a bestie for Instagram stories, as opposed to, yeah, the reels. And everybody I talk to is like, I had a glitch today. I had a glitch today.
Absolutely. So a lot of our clients love being on stories. They're easy. They can prop their phone up, they can record something, pop some text on there. They're good to go. And so we encourage them to do similar things to help us make reels. We're like, just prop up the camera, talk about what you want to talk about, let us edit. We'll add the captions, we'll make it and add trending music, all of it. Just talk about what you want to talk about and we'll handle the rest. And that's the meeting them in the middle
Yeah.
piece.
When you are thinking about working with a client and managing their social media, giving them strategy, where do you start? So let's say you have a brand new client. What are the things you start with?
Wow, the first thing we do is send a pretty detailed questionnaire that allows the client to almost brain dump everything about their business, really. Who are they wanting to sell to? What do they sell? What are the benefits of working with them? What are the values and the core beliefs that they have in their business? And then we take that and we craft messaging that falls into three pillars, basically: attraction, content, nurture, and sell. And we get a little bit more granular than that. That's pretty surface level. Um, and then we get into more specific content pillars. And so we have, for example, a nutrition coach that's on our client roster right now. And one of their content pillars is coaching the coaches. They speak directly to other coaches while they still are talking to people in their target audience that are just everyday people who enjoy working out, that enjoy that value. They're also speaking to coaches who want to then start their own coaching programs. And so we break it down from attract, nurture, sell to another level. Okay, here's these content pillars. Great. Now here's content ideas that fall into these, and we analyze their goals. First of all, are they trying to make $1 million? Are they trying to just get one client? What are the goals that they have at hand? And then we structure, okay, we're going to sell 20% of the time from our posts, or we're going to focus on attraction. So that's going to be 80% of our strategy. And then we put it all together, we present it. They have the opportunity to submit changes or say like, hey, this doesn't align. Truthfully, nobody has ever said it doesn't align. They all feel really excited and comfortable about the strategy we've written. And then we start execution, where we are creating those content pieces, whether it's reels or graphics or kind of any of that. And then we're in the cycle of having fun. We're proving content, creating content, and then helping them engage as well.
How do you decide where to put your focus when it comes to those content pillars, those top three? Like, how do you know which one you should be putting your efforts towards?
A lot of it is the goals that they have. Like I said, most of our clients, I would say 95%, their sheer goal is to just be active. They want to be active for their community. They want to provide value. And so we don't sell a lot because they have really well functioning other pieces of marketing. They're active. They have an active website. They have an active newsletter. They are strategic in their other marketing efforts, that social media doesn't have to be the sole provider of their sales. And so that way, 95% of our clients, then we can lean into that nurture content. One, attraction, we're trying to get more eyes in the door. And once they're there, we nurture them. Lots of free value, lots of just building those relationships, because we found that that's where people buy from people. They buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. Those are like the staples of marketing. So when you actually use that, the payoff is pretty great.
What would you say are maybe the top three lessons that you have learned in this business that you have created for yourself?
Yeah. Number one, it's okay not to know the answer. You can Google it. You can ask a friend. You're not responsible to be able to answer every single question that a client or a colleague might have for you. You can say, "Hey, I don't know the answer to that. Let me get the best answer for you." That would be number one. I think the second would be it it takes so much more discipline than education to do well in business, in my opinion. I think you can know a whole bunch, but if you don't have the discipline to show up or to create these systems and even boundaries in your business, that success can be hard. It's hard to pinpoint your next move if you don't have the discipline to even, like, I don't know, show up for yourself and like set those boundaries and set those systems up. And then the third is to show up as you and nobody else. Your perspective, your experience is different from everybody else's. And there are people in business that want to work with you because of your brain and your personality and the things that you bring to the table. And it's only hurting if you try to show up as somebody else.
I know that that third one is a struggle for a lot of people, especially if you've come from a corporate world where you've had to be quote unquote professional, etc. And especially if you come from an underrepresented identity where you have to mask or just to get by in life. But everybody is like, once I started really showing up as myself, is when things really started working well. How do you help your clients do that?
That's such a great question. Um, we I think a big piece of it is we are active in phone calls with them. We have regular occurring meetings where we are getting to know them as them. We're asking like, "Hey, what do you actually care about? What do you like to do on the weekends? What's your favorite song that's like not trending right now?" Like, you know what I mean? Like what are these things that actually make you you? And then we lean into content ideas that align with that, and we say like, "Hey, is this you?" And they're like, "It doesn't really feel like me." Okay, let's switch it up. You don't have to do something just because we came up with the idea for it. And it's an I'm going to be talking about this on my Instagram too this upcoming week, and it's working on finding your corner of the internet. Because I feel like if you're not happy on social media or if you're not finding joy in posting, I solely believe it's because just you haven't found the corner of the internet that you belong in yet, where your people are hanging out. You're stuck in somebody else's corner.
How do you know, or is there even, um, like, for instance, like, I love romanticides, I talk about it all the time. Smutty romanticides, and I'm a big geek, I play D&D, superheroes, I actually got my master's degree in superheroes. How much of that stuff becomes too much for your business accounts? Or is there no limit on that?
I don't think there's a limit. I think the limit is like if it has nothing to do with what you're selling, I, there's a line that I think that you can align it to kind of like take both worlds into one. But, if you're living an alter ego type of life to what you're selling, I think that can be tricky. But, we have a client right now who is very into the D&D and fantasy and video games and all of this, and we're able to create content for her accounting business that aligns with that. So yeah, I mean D&D and accounting probably don't go hand in hand, but she has unlocked an entire community of creatives who need her accounting services because they have an interest in what she's interested in and they're reading what she's reading because they feel like they found their corner of the internet and they trust her.
And I will say having knowing that client and knowing the social media work that you have done for her, you have done a phenomenal job of showcasing her personality. I like, anytime I see her posts, I just love them because I'm like, "Yeah, that's her." So, and everything that's great about her just shows up in those posts.
Thank you. That's so exciting to hear. Just because I feel like when you're in it too, you don't get to hear that perspective sometimes from other people on the outside that aren't commenting, you know? And so thank you for saying that.
Well, and it was funny because, there'd be a post that she would put up, and we'd get on a call, and I'd be chatting with her, and I'd be like, "Okay, we have another thing in common, and I wouldn't probably have known that, except you posted about it on Instagram."
Yeah. And that just comes from us just being like, "Tell us more. What are you interested in? What are you reading?" And having that open communication of she doesn't have to be in it every day, but we do enjoy the hands-on experience of our clients just getting to say, "This feels like me," or "This doesn't feel like me at all. I don't like the word pivot. Let's pivot." That's so corporate-y to say pivot, but let's move in a different direction.
What would be like the first step that you would give somebody as a suggestion of, okay, I want to show up more as myself in my social media? Let's say they love to be on Instagram and maybe Instagram stories. What would be like the suggestion you would give them to get started with that?
Yeah, don't think about business. Just post as if it was your normal account.
Okay.
Post a good morning, post you walking your dog, get post your like prop your phone up and post about how you're so annoyed that your sourdough starter, you didn't feed it last night and it whatever. Because it shows that you're human. And it shows that you have a life outside of your business, which for me, when I'm trying to hire somebody, that's important to me. I want to know that you enjoy things other than your business, that you enjoy life and concerts, and because that's people's way into conversation as well. You post about your business 24/7, it's really hard for somebody to say like, "Hey, just wanted to chat with you," but if you're posting about a book you're reading, that's a really easy in for somebody like, "Oh my gosh, I love that author." Yada yada yada, and you guys have a conversation. Maybe it leads to a sale. Maybe it doesn't, but at least you know that somebody out there is supporting what you're doing, and it's easier to show up in other ways as well.
I think you're right. It's so much easier to DM somebody you've never met before about the book series they're reading than it is about their business. I mean, I don't know how many people I've connected with over ACOTAR. So just because they posted a picture of a book, and so now we're having conversations.
Exactly, and I think that Instagram and business kind of together has had a bad rap lately where you feel like you can't talk to somebody because then they're going to be in your DMs pitching you. Like, I can't like your story because if I like it, you're going to DM me and try to sell me this thing. So just take the business out of it. Talk about the book you're reading, talk about the bread, post your kids if you want to post your kid, do whatever you want to do. And people are going to have conversations with you about it.
Because as you said earlier, we want to do business with people. So if you're not showing up as a person, a full person, we're not going to want to do business with you.
Feels gross. You feel like you're doing business with a corporation. I don't wanna do business with a corporation.
No, a whole bunch of us we're recording at the end of February of 2025, and a whole bunch of people are going to be boycotting corporations as of tomorrow. So for the day, um, as a social media person, manager, and you help everybody else with their social media, how do you stay enjoying social media? Because it's like my mom worked for a bakery in high school, and she's like, I stopped liking to eat donuts. If you work for an ice cream place, you hate eating ice cream. How do you still enjoy it for yourself, or do you?
Great question. It ebbs and flows, truthfully. I find myself in moments like this where I'm on a podcast or I'm having really good conversation with other business owners where I kinda reflect, I'm like, "Oh, man, that would be such a fun post." Like, I wanna get into and post that on my social media and do things like that, but if I ever go through a dry spell of not talking with other creatives or not even doing anything creative myself other than client work, I don't wanna post on social media, and so I feel like over the last year of doing this full time, it's ebbed and flowed a couple times where I find so much joy in showing up, and sometimes I don't, and I don't force it. I take the break. I kind of, like, allow myself to regroup creatively, and then I start, just like I said, just posting my life. I don't post about a sale or a launch. I just post what I'm eating for breakfast and what I'm watching on TV.
Yeah, the times that I've started to have a need for a break from my business, it's I've stepped away and I've gone for hiking or I've done some other fun thing, and all of a sudden mid hike I have like 20 downloads of things that I need to try in the business. I like want to get back to my desk to do it. So it's amazing. Just getting out and away from your business sometimes makes you better at your business.
100%. You've got the voice note. You're, like, voice noting yourself and, like, typing all the notes. You're like, "I've gotta get back. I'm on this mountain." Like,
Exactly.
"How do I get home?"
Exactly. What would you tell your younger self on those very first few weeks of starting your business? Now that you've had some time under your belt, what advice would you give that younger version of yourself?
Oh, it's gonna make me emotional. Yeah. I'm like, "Wow." Um, I think that I think that it's not gonna happen overnight, that you're not gonna know everything. Just like the lessons, I said a few minutes ago, it's okay not to know the answer. Your clients aren't gonna fire you because you can't answer something and you need a minute to reply to that email, and being yourself, I think. You don't have to do what Jane Doe is doing over there. You can do your own thing and you're gonna find your corner of the internet just like you preach that other people are going to find their corner of the internet.
Excellent advice. Where can the audience find you? Gonna guess some social media challenge
On
channels.
social media. I'm on Instagram at Happy Girl Marketing Co. And we're also on Threads. Instagram would be the greatest place to connect. We're there every day posting on stories, and that would be a super rad place to start a conversation.
Before I let you go, do you have any last things you would like to say to the audience?
Oh man, I think just take the pressure off of social media. And if you find that it's not enjoyable, but you recognize that you want to be there for your business, definitely reach out and we can help. But take the pressure off. It's not that serious. It's just Instagram.
Thanks so much for your time and joining me today.
Of course. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with me on Here's What I Learned. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, a laugh, or something to think about, make sure you're subscribed to my email list. That's where I share even more tips, stories, and behind-the-scenes insights to help you simplify and thrive. And remember, you get to do business and life your way. Until next time, keep experimenting, keep simplifying, and keep learning.